Today's topic is actually two different topics. First thing I want to talk about today is apparently all 30 of the Concord players are not super pleased with the fact that another game has come out and just sat exactly where Concord wanted to sit. Skill issue on Concord's part, absolutely, but it is still upsetting for them. And they are going to be bitching and moaning and complaining and pissing and shitting and crying and coming. That is what they say nowadays, right? But it does mean that we get to laugh at them because, well, somebody made a video about it, right? Concord players are very mad about Marvel Rivals. So I'm wondering what this is about. It's probably because the female characters in Marvel Rivals are very attractive, as are the male characters. I think they've done a very good job of making both male and female characters very attractive in that game. And I can imagine that the type of person that would really like Concord would be offended by that because they would go, but because they've never seen an attractive person in their life, mostly because the attractive people hide from them because they are um, disgusted by their mere presence. And so these people are unfortunately unaware of the existence of attractive people. And so they have to cope and seethe and mold and piss and shit and moan, and we've already said all of that. Let's get the video started.
As you may know, some of the modern audience types have been very upset at Marvel Rivals.
Obviously.
And I recently saw that Concord players, yet believe it or not, there's actual Concord players.
Yes, a hand. Like they are in an email list for the creators. It's like a Discord channel, and somehow it's less active than my Discord.
That exist. And they're also very upset at Marvel Rivals. Of course, there's probably a crossover between the modern audience types and Concord players.
All Concord players are modern audience types. Unfortunately, most of the modern audience doesn't play Concord either because it's a boring ass game.
And we'll get to all that in just a minute. Let's start here, though, with a little history. 8 months ago, this post on our
I still haven't played Marvel Rivals. I need to get into it with some of my friends.
gamers titled, "Can we just throw some backlash at Marvel Rivals?"
Why? I've been on the fence along with Overwatch for years. It has diverse male body types, and then female characters are compassed with a bare handful of diversity. Not true. And these diverse female characters are given such a little amount of attention and cosmetics that it's clear that they don't care. You're an idiot. Now, I'm watching Marvel Rivals go down the same path. No, you're not. The female characters are all tall, slim, and busty with a good deal of skins, while the men are fully covered minus Hulk and the Fishman. Did you forget Venom? Not to mention, it's like the idea that men have to be damn near naked to be female gaze oriented is ridiculous. So is the reverse, and the idea that the female characters are, good deal of skin is dumb. Like, we can just look up the Marvel Rivals roster right here. Where the fuck did it go? It just fucking didn't feel like going. So let's look here. So this is Adam Warlock. Black Widow, fully covered. Oh, it double clicked for some reason? Okay. So Adam Warlock, bare chest. Black Panther, fully covered. Black Widow, fully covered. Captain America, fully covered. Both fully covered. God, fucking, my mouse keeps double clicking. Doctor Strange, fully covered. Groot, naked. Hawkeye, fully covered. Ella, fully covered. And by the way, so far, the only unrealistic body types have been male, right? So this is an unrealistic. You can only get this body type with like career bodybuilding and steroids. Bodybuilding and steroids. You can get this body type as a woman by just working out a lot, but it will not take actual drugs and surgery for you to look like this as it would for you to look like this. steroids, regular, very attractive. I'm not saying that this isn't like 10 out of 10 people, right? This is like the top 1% of attractive people, but this is not something that requires like actually surgery, taking surgery and drugs and all sorts of things to get this body type, right? Um, fully covered, not human. Fully covered. Again, you're not getting this body type without steroids. Fully covered. That's just a Hulk. This is a regular body type. This is a perfectly attainable body type for a man. If you work out a lot, you will look like this eventually. Yeah, perfectly fine with this one, but fully covered. Hottest one of all, naked too. Goddamn. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. He's adorable. I love him. That's fucking Loki. Okay, for first female character that isn't wearing a full bodysuit. Second one, and it's magic. Magneto looking kind of sick, but again, you are not getting this look at fucking 60 without copious amounts of drugs. Fully covered. Moon Knight, fully covered. Also, not fully covered. Also, he's a whore. That's just Penny Parker and full bodysuit. Okay, a little bit of skin here. So far we've had 3 female characters that are showing skin, right? 3? Yeah. Luna, she's a K-pop artist. Magic, she likes dressing like this. It's like part of her character in the comic books. And Psylocke. Scarlet Witch. Oh, we got a little bit of armpit there. 4. That's 4. Spider-Man, Squirgle. We see a little bit of thigh. That's 5. Storm. No, that's covered. That's covered. It's a little see-through, but it's covered, and we got a little bit of cleavage, so we see some skin. So 6. Punisher, Thor. Oh damn, this is old man Thor. Cool. Venom, fully naked. So yeah, I think I proved my point. The male body types in Marvel Rivals are way more unrealistic than the female body types and way more revealing. Regardless, it's so clear that they just only care for straight male gamers. They are the majority audience, yes, but there's also plenty of stuff for female gamers there, which is why so many female gamers have moved on to Marvel Rivals as well. At this point, it's just a slap in the face. They know what they're doing. It's only a slap in the face to the people who only care about diversity, and the people who only care about diversity don't actually care about the games, so they aren't important. This is disappointing since the MCU did such a good job making women less objectified. Fans of the MCU will be playing this game. Very few people read the comics in comparison. You're an idiot. Making it accurate for them is a joke. No, it's not. Can we just start making noise on these issues? I feel like I just waited a decade for my dream Marvel game, and now it's pretty much implied this game isn't for me. So here's the thing. The MCU fans are 3 groups, right? You've got the actual MCU fans, the people who are only fans of the MCU. These people are like 10%. Then you've got about 20 to 30, maybe more. 20 to 30, maybe as close to 50, but it's hard to gauge. It's at least 20, it's at the most 50%, which are comic book fans. People who grew up with these comic books. Most of them are into gaming, most of them are into like some form of like nerd culture, right? And then the rest of them was the casual movie audience. How did the MCU get as big as it did? All the way up until the end of Phase 4, I think. I think we're now in Phase 5, or we're in Phase 4 now, but whatever. Up until the end of Endgame, which is when the MCU ended, we had really good movies, right? Really good spectacle, really good writing, really good direction, really good all of these things. It was different, but it respected the spirit of the comic books, okay? This means that it was able to acquire its own fans, it was able to pull in the comic book fans, and it was able to pull in the casual audience. Now, the casual movie audience only really gives a shit about, oh, flashy things on the screen. That's all they care about. They're going to go there. They're going to spend it. And the more popular something is, the more likely it is to attract a casual moviegoer audience. Don't worry about those people. They're always going to go watch your movie. If your movie's good, they're always going to go watch it. The 10% that are just MCU fans, they're just there because it's MCU. They've been pulled in by the brand, right? Fine. The ones that they needed to win over with their first movies were the Marvel fans, the comic book readers, the guys who are into the nerd culture, right? Because if you guys remember, I remember this, I'm pretty sure most people also remember this. When the first MCU movies came out, Captain America, Iron Man, all that stuff, we were getting made fun of for enjoying those movies. Because it wasn't cool yet. It was just comic book movies. What a fucking idiot. He's gonna go watch Iron Man. Ugh, what a fucking nerd, guys. Let's make fun of him. That's what was happening. So now we're seeing these types of people who are the 10% MCU fans. They're neither the casual audience, which comes on its own, nor the actual fans audience who want quality. They're just the sycophantic consumers that have latched onto a brand and attached part of their personality to it. They don't really understand quality. They don't really understand what makes the character good. They just know, oh, flashy thing on my screen. Oh, it looks like me. Haha! It's a fat person that can't fight, and it's just like me. And I could be a superhero, but you couldn't, right? And we all understand that we don't have the qualities to be a superhero, which is why when we see a superhero, we want it to be a giant, super strong man in plate armor, throwing criminals aside with one swing of his mighty hammer and throwing lightning at monsters and completely indestructible, right? That's what we want to see as a superhero, because then we can actually go, yes, it makes sense why that guy's a superhero. That creates a certain body type. If that is the type of strength that you have, you're going to be very big, bulky, muscular. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so you're going to look a certain way. In the same vein, a lot of the heroes in Marvel Rivals that are female, for example, Susan Storm, who is established to be one of the bombshells of Marvel, right? She was basically a model before she became a superhero, and she kind of just kept doing the things that made her extremely attractive afterwards. And who's next? Luna Snow. She's a K-pop star. Magic. She literally is just a young girl who is attractive, and she has this magical sword and magical powers that lets her do all sorts of things. I don't know that much about magic, but like all of these other characters are physically fit because they should be physically fit because they're doing things that require them to be physically fit. And kind of the same thing happened in Overwatch, where you didn't really have a lot of really fat characters at the start. You didn't have a single character who was unathletic. They were brought in later. Actually, no, one we had Roadhog, but Roadhog's thing was always just like, yeah, he's a tank. He's slow moving. He's got all this girth to him, and he's just a tank. And the same thing happens with the new guy with the two miniguns. Like, sure, he looks fat. He's not really that fat, but he looks a little fat. But it's girth, right? It's because he's getting shot at a lot, and so he needs that girth because he's not wearing any armor. And again, in Overwatch, it's the males who are super revealing. But anyway, let's see what else Mr. Hirohe has to say about this guy, because I feel like I've yapped a bit
I
too
love how
much
they
now.
gave it a serious flair. That just makes it more funny.
Mhm.
I've been on the fence so long with Overwatch for years. It has diverse male body types,
No, it
and then
doesn't.
female characters are copy paste
It really doesn't. They're all just like fucking mega hulks,
with a bare handful of diversity. And these
with the exception of Iron Fist and Spider-Man. Those are more twinkish.
diverse female characters are given such a little amount of attention.
Although I will say, Spider-Man should be a little bit more bulked up, unless that's like kid Spider-Man. And I don't think that is kid Spider-Man. I think that's the adult Spider-Man. So he should be a bit more bulked up.
In cosmetics, that it's clear they don't care for them. Now I'm watching Marvel Rivals go down the same path. The female characters are all tall, slim, and busty, with a good deal of skin, while the male characters are fully covered
Again, we've already disproven this idea that like good deal of skin. Tall, slim, and busty. The same is applied to the male. So I'm just throwing that out because he's saying that the males are diverse body type. No, they're not. This person is just coping.
Covered, minus Hulk and the Fishman, Namor. It's so clear that they only just care for straight male gamers. At this point, it's just a slap in the face. They
And by the way, again, straight male gamers are the majority audience. About you can go, but 40% of gamers are female. So you mean to tell me that 60% of gamers are male? Okay,
know what they're doing.
carry
It's
on.
disappointing since
Finish
the MCU
your
did
finish your
such a
thought.
good job making women less objectified. Fans of the MCU will be playing this game. Very few people read the comics in comparison.
I will be honest. It is so obvious that so many people who are aware of the Marvel universe are aware of it from just cultural osmosis, thanks to the MCU. And now that Marvel Rivals is actually making use of the comic book universe and the comic book continuity with Dracula and all this shit, and like actual things that are happening, like people are talking about these characters, and it is so painfully obvious that they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. Like people were talking about Susan being unfaithful to Reed because of Namor, when Namor is like, the voice actor for Miles Morales. Namor is that guy turned up to 11. Namor would pull up to Susan's bedroom, just break in there and try to force himself on her with Reed in the other room. Reed has to come through the goddamn wall to whoop his ass because he just tried to assault his wife in her bedroom because he's just so deranged about her, all right? Like, the idea that Susan has ever been unfaithful towards Reed is ridiculous. She is head over heels for that man.
Making it accurate for them as a joke. Oh my gosh, that's gotta be
And
one of
that's
the
one
most
thing,
pathetic things I've ever heard. They need to appeal to MCU fans only. Forget the comic fans. Don't make things accurate for them. As if there would even be an MCU without the original comics. And they end the post by saying, can we just start making noise on these issues?
You can make all the noise you want, but like, let's be honest. We're just gonna laugh at you, as we are now.
You know what? That's also one of the lamest things I've ever heard. Who talks like that? We need to make noise. Can we make noise on this? And what's their noise supposed to do anyways? Like, wow, some unhinged people on Reddit are mad. Yeah, I'm sure NetEase is really going to care about that. I feel like I just waited a decade for my dream Marvel game, and now it's pretty much implied that this game isn't for me.
I don't think it's. Here's the thing, though. The game doesn't choose who it's not for, right? The game puts forward. This is a game that's meant to be fun. It's got all of these characters. The characters are attractive, so if you're into like really attractive characters, everybody is. This is for you. And then you've got like this little group of just perpetually offended gremlins that will always find some reason to be mad at you if they want to be mad at you. And you're sitting there pretending like you're upset about not having the product that you wanted, except you never would have had the product that you wanted because you don't have an actual product that you want. All you want is to be pandered to, except there's no way to pander to you because if you are pandered to, you're going to say, "Oh, he's just pandering." These people are always going to be upset.
Well, that sounds like great news for everyone else. Imagine being stuck in a lobby with someone like that.
Oh, yeah.
The most upvoted comment in that thread says, consider my noise added to your.
This is the most upvoted comment. I get more than this on my like just regular old tweets, and I'm a nobody. So how the fuck is this the most upvoted comment? Top 5%.
Just tell me where to direct
God
it.
damn.
Another top comment said,
Yeah, who would have thought that League of Legends did it best? It's so weird. We've had AAA games with diverse women for ages, and here we are 5 steps backwards from that. It did?
yeah, who would have thought that League of Legends did it best? It's so weird. We've had AAA games with diverse women for ages, and here we are, 5 steps backwards from that.
Uh-huh.
And then
Titania Lynn. You already know the type of person this is, except League hasn't done it the best. They're one of the worst offenders of this issue. What? League has every kind of woman there is, except fat, because we never get rep. Yep. I knew it. A name like Titania, like, I'm a fairy, I'm a fey creature of grace and magic. It's always the fattest bitch you know. And I use bitch not in the sense of female, but in the sense of annoying motherfucker. My
People would
fucking mouse
argue
keeps
about
double
League of
clicking.
Legends also being problematic. So yeah, I just thought that was all pretty funny. Hope you enjoyed that one too.
Yeah, man.
Aside from the brain rot stuff. And now on to more current posts from only
Oh?
3 days ago on the subreddit for Concord. The post title
Any Concord fans try Rivals yet? I'm curious what impressions the fans of Concord have about Marvel Rivals. I'm considering giving it a try, but Concord holds a special place in my heart, and I'm hoping Rivals shares similar qualities.
any
No, actually, Rivals is good.
Concord fans try Rivals yet? I'm curious what impressions the fans of Concord have
Sorry,
about
brother.
Marvel Rivals. I'm considering giving it a
14
try, but
upvotes,
Concord holds a
264
special
comments.
place
Yeah, this is what a ratio is. 14 upvotes, 260 comments.
in my heart,
Eesh.
and I'm hoping Rivals shares similar qualities. And the OP apparently a top 1% poster over on our Concord. It's a real Concord diehard right here. The top response reading, it plays nothing like Concord. I personally don't like the movement or shooting at all, and don't get all the hype and praise it's getting. If you want similar gameplay to Concord, Destiny 2 is your best bet.
Bro, Concord devs on suicide watch after that one because I cannot imagine, I genuinely cannot imagine a worse thing to be said about my game. It's like, it plays like Destiny 2. Mm. The main complaint about Destiny is the gameplay. It's that it plays like you're just fucking shooting into sponges. The PvP is not that fun because everything one shots you or two shots you. It's basically dominated by the people who have all the exotics and who have paid all that money. And the PvE is super unfun unless you already know everything. So like discovering it isn't fun at all. So at that point it's like, oh yeah, we're just grinding, and the grind is just hosing bullets at bullet sponges. Destiny 2 is just a collectathon, except it's not that fun to collect things in it.
But the PvP in that game is basically unplayable, unfortunately, but the PvE is still good.
No, it's not.
They'd get a response that reads, I feel like the majority of the hype and praise it's getting is just because it's one of the first good online Marvel games to come out in this entire period of MCU box office domination.
Also, because people want a hero shooter. Like the here's the thing, guys. We used to have Counter Strike and COD and all of that, and COD still kind of holds its own because the COD audience has moved on to the battle royale genre. They're playing Warzone, they're playing Fortnite, they're doing all that stuff. But the Counter Strike people and the Team Fortress people, less so the Team Fortress people, but the Counter Strike people wanted to move on to something more fun. Overwatch came out, they nerfed the fun into the ground, and so they just had to throw that out. And then they moved on from Overwatch to Valorant. And Valorant was fun, and Valorant is there. It still has its wonder and its whimsy. But now we're getting Overwatch Season 1 again. And Overwatch Season 1, Overwatch like 1, not 2. Overwatch 2 was garbage. But Overwatch Season 1 was peak, right? It was so much fun to play. You could be getting your ass whooped and you'd still be having fun, right? It was fun to play. It was enjoyable. You could be with your homies, and that shit was just peak. But nowadays people don't seem to understand that the audience has been craving something like this game for a while. It's not about the IP, it's about how fun it is to play. And people are having a lot of fun with it.
Which is waning. And a lot of people who are unhappy with Overwatch trying to signal boost
And by the way, the MCU box office domination died with Endgame.
a competitor, the game itself feels pretty
The only MCU property that still like does well is Spider-Man, and that's because of Tom Holland.
dang on polished and on balance compared to Overwatch and even Concord.
Ernie the Bean Fiend. God, they always have the cringiest fucking names.
And this different top comment says, why did Concord have to die and Marvel Rivals gets to live? It's not as fun as Concord by a long shot. I hate this timeline.
Lol.
They'd get a response
What well, charging $40 when literally every hero shooter is free was a very big misstep. Yep, being free wouldn't save the game, buddy, and Marvel Rivals isn't having success because it's free. It's one of the main factors of its demise. Yes, I do agree that on launch more people would have tried it if there had been no like $40 buy-in, considering every other hero shooter is free, right? On top of the fact that Concord just doesn't play that well. It just doesn't. It's not that much fun to play. It doesn't look fun to watch. It doesn't have the right colors. It doesn't have the fun heroes. It doesn't have any of that stuff. So at the end of the day, it just doesn't play that good. Mecha Break. Mecha Break looks way more fun. I'm still waiting for that bitch to come back into playable. Like, is it playable? Let me check. Actually, is Mecha Break playable? Hold on. Fuck.
That says, well, charging $40 when literally every hero shooter is free was a very big misstep. A response to them reading, being free wouldn't save the game, buddy, and Marvel Rivals isn't having success because it's free.
Yeah, like, here's the thing. Free applies to all the hero shooters. They're all free, right? Almost all of them are free, and then it's all free to play with in-game purchases. Marvel Rivals is having success because it's a lot of fun to play, and it's a property that everybody knows, and this is very important, the heroes are well done, right? It feels good to play the heroes, and it feels intuitive that the heroes will have the powers that they have, right? It feels good to play, and that's the most important thing. But yes, I agree. Concord being free wouldn't have saved it. It just would have kept it alive an extra like month.
This whole chain of comments then especially set off the Concord diehards, who began to go full aggro and get very defensive, which you'll see coming up. As user pass foundations would respond to that other user Desfert, where Desfert had essentially said that Concord being free wouldn't have saved it. Past Foundations responding saying it's one of the main factors of its demise.
I agree.
And that's where we get
yeah, let's say then it was free to play. Now tell me the difference, how much longer it would last. Probably maybe a few more months. I definitely think a few more months. Game even on free beta hit 2K and kept dropping players already at that time. I'm trying to like translate it to good English. Did basically present the same issues from beta, and it did die a few weeks later. Doesn't make a single difference. Paint a ship with the colors. If you don't fix the holes, it'll sink anyway. Again, Marvel Rivals has its own factor. Understood well what made Overwatch 1 successful, created at least an interesting mechanic for say it's different, knows what a multiplayer needs, and that's why it succeed. Not because... My god, this guy, he writes so badly. Oh my god, why do you have to be right and then write so shit? Fuck. Knows what a multiplayer game needs, and that's why it's succeeding. Not because of a price tag, which many didn't have, and many fail. Seriously, people, stop thinking free-to-play is the answer for everything. It just shows how clueless you guys are. Yeah, but, like, Concord was a worse game for a higher price. So that just hastened its death.
Desperate saying, yeah, let's say it was free to play. Now tell me the difference, how much longer would it last? Even when the game had a free beta, it only hit 2K and kept dropping players. Basically kept the same issues from the beta, and then it died only a few weeks later. It doesn't make a single difference to paint a ship with other colors. If you don't fix the holes, it'll still sink. Desperate then going on to list a number of reasons why they believe Marvel Rivals is successful, and concluding by saying, seriously people, stop thinking free to play is the answer for everything. It just shows how clueless you guys are.
Notice how he skipped this fucking chapter because this fucking paragraph because he couldn't figure out a way to read it without having an aneurysm.
Yeah, some of them might be clueless, but I think a lot of them are also in complete denial.
Yeah,
During the whole Concord saga, the whole Concord arc, we saw so many of these defenders ignoring, for example, the whole like DEI stuff that Concord had. And it wasn't even that they...
The DEI stuff that Concord had, I'll say this a million times, dude. DEI does not kill games. DEI does nothing one way or the other, right? You can have the wokest fucking game, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, all of these games that have this stuff in them, right? Witcher 3, fucking whatever, right? New Vegas. And it's all meaningless, right? Because if the game is good, the game is good. If the DEI, if the inclusivity, if the woke shit is well incorporated into the world, it's fine, right? Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, all of these were woke games who had all of this stuff in it already. And then comes Veilguard, all the same woke stuff as Dragon Age Origins 2 and Inquisition, but in Veilguard, it's so shittily written, it's painfully clear that nobody involved in the writing of Veilguard played a single Dragon Age game or gave a single fuck about the lore of Dragon Age. And so the game sucks. And the dialogue reads like shit. And the characters are garbage. And nobody ever wants to interact with any of it because it's all fucking garbage. The DEI does not kill the game. The writing kills the game. The DEI doesn't kill the game. The diversity doesn't kill the game. The wokeness doesn't kill the game. The game is just bad.
Didn't recognize it was there. It's like they wouldn't admit that it was there. They would just do everything they possibly could to dodge how DEI negatively impacted Concord. Because, hey, they gotta do everything they can to defend that corporate policy. Very pathetic. Then we get this
Damn, he nailed
hilarious
Iron Man there.
quote that said
Concord failed not because... I'll just let him read.
Concord failed not because of its design, gameplay, price, or quality as a game, but because it became a target in a culture war.
No, dude. No, that's not true. Hatred doesn't kill games. Apathy kills games.
From the moment it was announced, discussions about the game were dominated by negativity. Critics labeled it as dead on arrival, woke, or trash before there was even a beta or gameplay footage. This constant negativity overshadowed the game itself.
People who actually play the game don't give a shit. If the game was good, nobody would give a shit. Straight up. The problem was that when the trailer came out, it didn't seem fun. It didn't feel like it had whimsy. It just felt boring. It wasn't super interesting. It didn't capture the audience. It was just, oh, okay. So it wants to be Guardians of the Galaxy Overwatch. Okay. And then they showed a little bit of gameplay, and I was like, well, that looks not that much fun. Not that colorful. Not that whimsical. Not that anything. And so people lost interest instantly. The whole dead on arrival, yeah, that came because it looked unfun. The woke claims came after when the devs themselves and the writers and all that shit started responding to the critics who said, well, this doesn't look that interesting, with claims of, oh, you're being homophobic, oh, you're being racist, oh, you're evil, you're this, you're that, da 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 da. It's like, yeah, okay, you guys are just woke assholes who don't actually understand what makes a game good.
Despite being fun for those who actually played it.
No, it wasn't. Because if it was, they would have kept playing, and they didn't.
Few people gave it a fair chance. The backlash was so intense that even liking the game invited ridicule. In the end, more people criticized Concord than actually experienced it, which made it impossible for the game to succeed.
You want to know about a game that failed in just the same way and got none of the criticism? This game, Nosgoth. This game had fans. This game had people who wanted it to succeed. This game had an audience that was craving it. But because the game wasn't fun, and because it just, like, it didn't play super well, and then on top of that, like, you couldn't really earn things in-game. You could only, like, buy shit. Like, all of these awesome cosmetics that you're seeing here, like, even this suit that this, Dumahin, whatever, Dumahim, I think that's the name of their clan. This vampire here is wearing. Even this armor, you had to pay for this armor. None of this could be earned in game. So it's like, oh wow, this Torellum vampire, that's the clan name. This giant vampire with the ears and the bat wings, that looks really cool. You want to know how he actually looks? Unless you pay for it, he looks like this guy here. He doesn't have those ears. If there's nothing for a person to achieve outside of just paying money, people aren't gonna wanna play. Like, all of these cosmetics that you see here, this is all paid for. You have to pay for all of this stuff. This guy has cosmetics. You have to pay for that. This guy too. This guy too. It's like, yeah. And so the game failed. Even though none of this shit was the case, right? It just created an apathy in the player base and people stopped playing. And that's the same thing with Concord. Concord never even managed to get people's attention. Because if we go and look at Nosgoth Steam charts, I'm fairly certain that it had it had an 11,000 players at its peak. Now I'm pretty sure like it's just devs playing the game because there's 3 players right now and the 20-hour peak was 20 and the servers are dead. I think it's just people who like every once in a while try to boot the game up, but the game is dead. Like the servers are down. So it's like
is not taking into
Yeah.
account how most people didn't even want to play Concord because the hero roster was terrible. It's
Yeah,
like,
it
oh,
was
hey guys, here's a
uninteresting. It
bunch
wasn't
of
fun.
losers you can play as. Yeah, gee, I wonder why that didn't work out. Here's another funny exchange with this user irate
I'll let
pirate
Hero
who
hate
responds
read
to the
'cause
OP.
read anyway.
Once again, the OP had asked if any of the our Concord people had played Marvel Rivals. Irate pirate saying, yes. In fact, my original plan when Concord was coming out was something like, I'm bored of Overwatch, I'll play Concord until Rivals comes out. Unfortunately, that wasn't possible. It's pretty fun. It's not on Concord's level in my opinion, but it's fun. User Icy Ruins responding, saying Concord's level is so high that the game shut down immediately.
That is so mean. Y'all are still here. Figured you people would have stopped hanging around hating a few months after the game shut down. I guess life moves slow when you have nothing worthwhile in it.
A different user, Lum Sauce, then chiming in saying, y'all are still here. Figured you people would have stopped hanging around hating a few months after the game shut down, but I guess life moves slow when you have nothing worthwhile
My guy, this probably took him 30 seconds to write.
in it. And Icy Ruins responds saying that this post was recommended on their homepage. I also find it funny that Lum Sauce is talking about people still being here on the
Yes. Like, why are you still fanboying over a dead game? The game is dead. Move on.
Concord subreddit, when that can also be applied to the Concord Defender.
Like, that guy was just chilling. He saw you guys being cringe and he made fun of you for it. Like, you're the one still gushing about a literal dead game.
The game lasted all of 2 weeks and has been dead for months. And then hopping over to the Marvel Rivals subreddit, we've got this post that says, talk about bad takes.
Otherwise, there's too many heroes. Oh my god.
And then posting an image from Outlet the Gamer and an article that they made titled Marvel Rivals has too many heroes for its own good. You're probably familiar with the Gamer. Many channels,
like
including
30
mine,
heroes.
have talked
There's not
about
that many.
takes from that outlet, as they're the same type
It's a
of
good
gaming
amount. It's a good amount of diversity of heroes. Like,
journalists who often try and call gamers problematic, and they're constantly getting offended at things.
Of
They were
course.
also being laughed at a few weeks ago during the Veilguard arc, as they
well, no. Okay, look. Was that The Gamer or PC Gamer? Because I remember PC Gamer took one. No, that's The Gamer. Okay, because I remember PC Gamer took one look at Veilguard and went, "This kind of feels like they're embarrassed of where Dragon Age came from," and they immediately got shit on by all the Dragon Age fanboys on Twitter. And then the game came out, and all of those it was so funny. Like, I was on Twitter the whole time for Veilguard. It was hilarious to see because, like, in the build-up for Veilguard, everybody was like, Inquisition is the only good Dragon Age game. Inquisition is the best. Inquisition is the best. If you're an Origins fanboy, get the fuck out of here. We don't want you. You have terrible taste. Origins was actually really, really bad. Veilguard comes out, silence for like a week. All of those accounts just went silent. And then one person popped up and said, you know what? I'm not going to lie. Origins was actually pretty fucking good. And then another said, yeah, honestly, Origins was my favorite game. Yeah, Origins did it the best. Origins had the best companions. Origins had this. Origins had that. Origins felt the most Dragon Age. Inquisitions was okay. I really enjoyed the companions of Inquisition, but there's something magical about Origins. It was beautiful, right? They murdered their version of the franchise and revived the old part. Actually, let me see something, because I haven't checked out the. We're actually gonna check this out here, right? So, Steam charts, Veilguard. I want to check out the Veilguard, Inquisition. We're not gonna check out. Dragon Age 2 because there's no point. People do not be playing that game. So Veilguard. Yikes! This just keeps going down. Okay, this stays where it's at. Good 24-hour peak. Okay, Yeah, these have remained constant. I'm surprised this one did, but here's the thing. I always said that if Veilguard was a good game, all of the Inquisition fanboys would leave and move over to Veilguard. But with Veilguard being bad, they all came back. And then this is just people who are just getting through the story, I think. Eventually, these guys will actually just stop playing. New Noxus trailer for Arcade is out. We will have to watch that later. But yeah, Origins is still the best Dragon Age by far, in my opinion. And PC
Made a
Gamer
number
was
of
goated.
articles
The
attempting to
Gamer was
defend Dragon
cringe.
Age the Veilguard, only to then later make one where they kinda walked that back a little bit after they saw the public opinion on the game was negative, and nothing these journalists could do would change that opinion. As many gaming journalist outlets, for example also IGN, did attempt to defend Veilguard and influence
I think if you actually read into the review that IGN made for Veilguard, you get the feeling that they also didn't believe Veilguard was going to be good.
the public in a way that they
Don't come so
completely
to watch
failed
and
at.
react to it in a
And
video.
now
I will
the
probably
corpo
do both.
journos over at The Gamer
You can
are
leave comments.
attempting to insult Rivals and prop up Overwatch, saying that Rivals should have taken more time with its roster and
Hey guys, here's something that a lot of these journalists don't get. And this is for all the journalists that are watching, all like one of you. The only thing that matters is player satisfaction. The more satisfied, especially for a live service game, the more satisfied your player is, the more they feel their money is being valued, the more they come back and give you more money, right? If you give them a ton of free shit and then say, hey guys, if you want to support us, give more money. You will get more money. They turned Vladimir super twinkish, lol. Vladimir was always a twink.
making a very weird argument that Rivals has released too many heroes already, saying that people
Like,
don't care about playing them well.
we'll
or
talk
trying to
about that
learn what
later,
their
but like,
abilities
Vladimir
which
was
is
always a twink.
obviously a really weird thing to say. Like, obviously people want to play their heroes well. They then doubled down on the argument that Rivals has too many heroes.
Even during this beta period, the roster was stacked with a staggering number of playable heroes, all of whom were interesting and made you want to play the heroes. Because, like, here's the thing. If all the heroes look kind of generic and overwhelming, it makes you not want to play, right? If all the heroes look fun, intuitive, and enjoyable and attractive, it makes you want to play each of them. It makes you want to go, ooh, I'm going to play Venom this time. And then you're playing Venom. Oh my god, Namor looks so cool. I need to play Namor next. And then you're playing Namor. Oh my god, Mr. Fantastic looks so cool. I need to play that next. Oh my god, I need to, that's how that goes if the characters look fun. Concord was like dead on arrival. Overwatch had that, like, right? You start out, you're playing as Reinhardt with the big ass shield, and then you see a fucking gorilla jump, and you're, oh my god, that's Winston, that looks so cool. Switch to Winston. I'm a fucking monkey now. Oh my god, Reaver's teleporting around with 2 shotguns. I need to try that. Oh my god, Tracer's fucking teleporting and shit. Oh my god, Widowmaker just blew my fucking brains out. That's how that needs to be. And then as you learn the game, you start to realize that each hero has a set of skills that are useful for different situations and useful for different countering of different enemy heroes. That's why you want that many heroes. Because if you have a small roster of heroes, people get hyper attached to a set number of heroes, and then when you introduce a new one, by the way, part of the reason why Overwatch started to lose its luster was because a lot of its heroes, it has a very small roster, and then it would add a new hero that was basically just a better version of another one. Like, you had Soldier 76, and then they added a support version with the same loadout, an assault rifle, a grenade launcher, and healing, and he would heal more than Soldier 76, and he had higher DPS. And then the same thing happened to Reinhardt. They added Brigitte, which had a stronger shield and did more DPS. Right? It doesn't make sense. You cannot just do that. You already have Reinhardt. Oh, this is my idea for Brigitte. Oh, okay. Change that idea or she's not going in the game. That's what you do for a good game. Okay? And Marvel Rivals right now has 33 heroes, and all of them are unique.
And in the lead up to its full launch, more additions were confirmed for the roster, making it hard to determine who I'd main, and if I would even have enough time to learn all their ins and outs before release. Turns out that I didn't, and now the sheer act of playing Marvel Rivals is daunting.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. It's your fucking job. Get to it. Right? I'm not gonna sit here and pussyfoot around it. Oh my god, the sheer act of playing this fun game with all of this choice is daunting, and that's a bad thing. It's the game's fault. No, that's your fault. That's your fault for not toughening yourself up. Okay, it's a video game. It's daunting. Then play the one that looks fun to you, and then play the next one that looks fun to you. What are we doing here? What are we doing giving these fucking idiots the ability to dictate whether or not what we are enjoying is good? Who the fuck is this guy? Does this guy play video games? It doesn't sound like he does.
Once again, I find myself comparing it unfavorably to Overwatch. Yeah, this just sounds like a massive skill issue. I only
Yes.
started playing Rivals like 2 weeks ago, so not only did I not play the beta, but I also started it late technically. I don't find it daunting at all, it's a fun game. And I'm not even a great player, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I know plenty of people probably didn't play in the beta, and they're also having fun with the game, so
I
I
love
don't
Jeff.
get what they're trying to say.
I love Jeff the
Except
shark. He
it
looks so
seems like they're
cute.
trying to make any excuse they can to try and insult Rivals and prop up Overwatch. Continuing, they say, Overwatch turned each new hero into a legitimate event.
That is not necessarily a good thing, right? Because here's the thing: they're doing the exact same thing for Mr. Fantastic and Mrs. Fantastic, Susan Storm and Reed Richards. They're bringing them in as part of this major event as they announce the next part of the season, and they're apparently going to have a big part to play in the actual story of the game as they introduce more heroes as part of that story. And they are intending to add a lot of heroes through the game's thing. And NetEase, one thing that nobody can say about these predatory ass Chinese companies, right? They're predatory as fuck, but they make good shit. They make the good shit. So nobody can say that they don't know what they're doing.
You would follow each update and tease with fervent anticipation, waiting to find out exactly what role they might fulfill and what they would look like.
So you're asking to be starved of content so that the content tastes better when you could just get the same good content? Because here's the thing: if you're starved of content for like 3 months and then you get a really good thing, you're like, oh my god, this was good. And then a week later, you're done with it. And now you're starved for another 3 months. Meanwhile, if you just get good content, wait a few weeks, more 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 good content. You're never starved, you're enjoying yourself, the game stays fresh, and here's the thing, you are never given enough time to fully remove that hero from its special status, right? Sure, you don't get the whole starved for content, so the new content tastes really good. Like you're all really teased and fervent with anticipation. But then you also don't get the same level of disappointment.
That won't happen when Rivals adds Sentry. Every new hero was unexpected, but for Rivals, it feels like we already have to temper our expectations after NetEase jumped the gun on its A-listers. Yeah, so I think this point
Sentry is actually going to be goated when they add him to Marvel Rivals. Sentry is basically Marvel's version of Superman. And he loses every fight. It's beautiful.
is just terrible. I'm actually a huge fan of the Sentry. He's probably my favorite Marvel hero. I like how he's a very flawed character. I also like the whole Void thing. And then when he merges with the Void, I think that's one of the sickest
This is my first time seeing this. What happened to my boy?
character designs in all of comics.
Oh,
Regardless,
this looks sick. This looks sick.
the point they're trying to make here is that Rivals has already used the A-listers in
No, they
comics.
didn't.
So the next
No, they didn't. No, the fuck they didn't. They used the ones everybody already knows about. They've got plenty of A-listers. I don't think you. Where's the Gladiator? Where's Thanos? Where is fucking Star-Lord in the game? No. Is Gamora? No. Nebula? No. Fucking, they've got so many A-listers left that it. Only somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about would think that they're out of A-listers.
heroes they release aren't going to be very interesting or compelling, essentially.
Like, where's Vision?
Which is beyond absurd. There's still so many A-list heroes that Rivals hasn't added. Comes
Yeah.
off like they just don't know what they're talking about.
Yes. Yes, this is the exact same type of person that was on Reddit before, as we saw, like complaining about, oh, they should be going for MCU fans and not comic book
Like, here's
fans.
some, not including the upcoming heroes in Season 1 and not
Like, where's Carnage?
including villains. But we got like Cyclops, Kitty Pryde, Rogue, X-23, Blade, Jubilee, Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Iron Lad, and Professor X.
I wasn't even talking about the X-Men. I completely forgot about the X-Men existing.
And they end by saying, I could be proven wrong, but
You
right now
you
I'm
have been. You have been proven wrong.
not very excited about new heroes to come to Rivals,
That's because you lack whimsy.
because we are already dealing with an excessive roster.
No, you're
There's
not.
no moderation and a desire to give players a temporary power fantasy instead of easing them into things. This will only hurt the game in the long run.
Temporary power fantasy. What are you talking about? There's no temporary power fantasy. It's just like, hey man, I know you want more, so here's more. We want to. Here's the thing, right? You want the game to be feature complete ASAP. Why? So that you can proceed to create more skins, hone the gameplay experience, optimize it, make it feel good as possible. Not necessarily balance it, just make it feel good, right? You want more skins, which is the content people can pay for. Make and events is the third one, but more skins, better gameplay, which is just honed and optimized over time, and more events. That's what you want, and for that you need the game to be feature complete. You need all of your heroes out there, and the more heroes, the better.
Run. And feeling that way right now isn't a good sign. Well, considering that it's journalists from the Gamer saying all this
Yes.
stuff, then it probably is a good sign actually. Generally, if you do the opposite of what these sort of gaming journalists say, then you'll be very successful. But yeah, that's it for this one. Let me know what you think about all this stuff in the comments. If you enjoyed the coverage, please consider liking and or subscribing. Appreciate you. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.
Damn right. They are just pathetic, honestly. It is really just stupid. They're dumb. They have no idea what they're talking about. These game journalists have never once had the respect of their audience. And if things continue, they never will. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Cheers. So